both of us saw yesterday Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania,
Yeah,
but
different times.
separately because we had to go at different show times.
Yeah.
So I saw it in IMAX 3D. What did you see it in?
I ended up seeing it in 3D. Just because it was the only one I could go to. That's why I had that one, because it was a 6 o'clock show.
Doesn't really need to be a 3D movie.
No, but I just couldn't go at any other time.
Yeah.
It's really late. They had it for really late, and I couldn't go.
I hate that when you got a showtime you can go to, but it's 3D, and you're like, I don't want to go to 3D.
No one wanted to go. There was only like 7 people in the back row and me in the whole theater.
Probably the same thing. Probably the same thing. Stop with the 3D, guys. I saw it in IMAX 3D, and that was because that was the first screening, and there was no non-IMAX 3D.
Right. I saw the 3D because it was only a 6 o'clock show. Anyway.
So let's do non-spoilers.
Yeah, non-spoilers.
And then we'll do a spoiler section later. So this is non-spoilers right now. Did you enjoy this movie?
I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it really was taking a lot. It seemed a lot like a Doctor Who movie. It seemed a lot like Doctor Who. Like Loki was a lot like Doctor Who. I guess because we're dealing with time. But it was a lot like Doctor Who, and some Star Wars fitted in as well. It was still fun, but the one big problem I think that really let it down was the dialogue.
I agree. Well, for me it was more yes, that was bad. The story needed work. I said in my spoiler-free reaction of the theater that I had fun with this, but I was a bit disappointed because the story wasn't very good. There was a lot of story beats that I didn't like and stuff that some things they could just cut out. I'm like, you don't need to make this longer. There was a bunch of things. There was characters that didn't need to be there. That were kind
of Bill Murray.
Dear, spoilers.
Oh, is that a spoiler? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you know he's in it.
Not really a spoiler.
There are characters that they don't need to have, so why are they just wasting screen time with them? Write a better story, have it move along faster. It was 2 hours, 5 minutes. I think they could have trimmed it down a little bit more with a better storytelling.
Yeah, overall the story was okay.
They're introducing all these characters, and then there's big battles and everything at the end, but I don't care about any of the characters. It's like, I don't care about any of these new characters. They mean nothing to me. So why would they spend all this time with them? It just made no sense.
I don't even know their names other than 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, one character was pretty funny.
Yes.
I mean, there's bad dialogue around that character. That was the
best joke in the whole movie.
I felt they could have really used at the end.
Way more jokes.
Okay. Yes. I felt like at the end, after the big battle and everything, I felt they really could have used like Michael Pena there doing a recap or telling stories about, you know, what was going on. And I really missed him in this movie because he's the best part of these Ant-Man movies, is having Michael Pena and they're doing a recap of all these great stories.
Well, like the first scene and the end scene, like both the beginning and the end are very similar scenes, and they have some humor in them.
What'd you think of the jokes?
There's not enough humor at all. And that's why I always liked about Ant-Man, because it's really funny.
Well, what about the jokes that were in it? Did you find them funny?
Oh, the worst part was the part about... I don't want to get into it because it's a bit of a spoiler, but...
Okay, we'll say that for spoiler section.
Yeah, there was a really bad part that uses the same word like 3 or 4 times in a row. And I was like, really? This is fine to be a big joke, but you've done it really poorly with your really bad dialogue. You know what I'm talking about.
I find the humor in these movies, aside from Michael Pena, is quite poor. I mean, the Ant-Man the Wasp was quite disappointing for me. The parts with Michael Pena were hilarious, but every other joke that someone else is telling, I'm sitting there, are these jokes for 4-year-olds or something? I don't...
The language is for 4-year-olds, and that's probably, like I was saying, these people that are in this movie are very smart people.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the main character, who's not as smart.
He is an electrical engineer.
He's not as, like...
Scott Lang.
Yeah, but he's more of a goof. But these people wouldn't be talking this way. They talk like idiots. I just think the dialogue is just so poor. It just... I don't know who was writing it. it just really let it down. It dragged the whole movie down. It had beautiful, beautiful scenes in it.
Oh yeah,
And beautiful things in it like that. But just the way they were speaking.
I said in my spoiler-free reaction that this was more sensation and spectacle over substance, over the story. It's visually, it looks amazing. It doesn't need to be a 3D movie. I don't need to see this in 3D. It's not Avatar where you got stuff in the background and the foreground.
Yeah.
And it's every scene.
I don't think they used the 3D very well.
No.
It was beautiful when they go to that world. It was really cool to see it, but I didn't really get a lot of the 3D.
I agree. The 3D is poor, so if you can go to a non-3D version, just go to a regular 2D version and save yourself a few bucks, do it, because you ain't missing anything here.
It was $19.
Yeah, and that's why they have all these 3D showings, and then the 2D screenings are packed, but no one wants to go to the 3D screenings because they don't want 3D and they don't want to pay extra for it.
Like, I haven't gone to a movie in a little while because I just haven't had a chance. So that, well, gee, I definitely won't be going if the movie's gonna be $19 every time. I mean, I haven't gone in a month, so.
No, that's just because it's the 3D.
It was super expensive, and it wasn't IMAX that I saw. Yours must have been even more.
Yeah, but I think I got it as a free ticket.
Oh yeah, you can get free tickets.
Well, anyway, we have Cineplex here in Canada, so they have various programs, and you can get free tickets through it. I mean, I get a free ticket once a month through their Cine Club, which is okay, I guess. We don't have like the equivalent of AMC A-List, which is way better. You pay a big fee a month. You pay like $25-$30, and then you get to go to unlimited movies for the month.
You were looking at St. John's #1 movie game player.
Well, they don't have that anymore. When
they used to have the game, it was you. You were always up there. Always up there. You were the #1.
Well, we're going to the movies all the time. So before we finish our non-spoiler section, what would you give this? Would you give this best movie ever, worst movie ever? I'm going to give it, just because it did have some good stuff in it, and I enjoyed it more than I didn't enjoy, even though I was disappointed. I'm going to give it a best movie ever. But that's like barely over. That's almost like a 51%.
Well, it's just so disappointing.
It is disappointing.
It was disappointing. The visuals were great. And the great actors in it.
Oh, definitely.
But the things they had them say and stuff were stupid. And there's one big kind of hole in the whole story, if you ask me. But,
nope. We'll talk about more in spoilers.
Right.
What rating would you give this before we go to that?
I guess I'll give it like an 83.
83.
Yeah, I had fun, but I just think the potential was there for something much greater, and it just let you down.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think about Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania if you go see it down in the comments below.